Hello, good afternoon, and welcome back to Sunday Artist Talk. My name is Lois Stone, and I will be your host. Today, we're going to be talking with Chicago native Cardell Phillips, photographer, who has an extraordinary body of work, and he's going to let us know how he got started with his photography. So I'm going to start with Cardell. How you doing today?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, thank you for joining us. You know, this is the first time we've had a photographer on, but hey, in the visual arts, photography is just as important as painting and anything else. So I really want to get right into it. You know, Cardell and I have known each other for years, but this is the first time that we really talk in depth about his photography. Mm-hmm. So I want to start out with, I've read your bio. However, I want to give everybody an opportunity to talk about, and so you can talk about how you got interested in photography.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, my uncle was a photographer, and we would go over to his house on holidays or, just whenever. And I'd noticed him being a photographer, his cameras, and I was fascinated by the cameras. And one time we went over there and he was showing off his Polaroid, brand new Polaroid, back in the day where it spit out the film while you watched it develop. And I was just really just like, wow, fascinated by that. And I worked up the nerve to ask him to let me take a picture, and he said, yeah, okay, he gave me the camera. And I took a picture and I was so nervous because of hoping that I did everything right and it came out right. And so it spit out. I looked at it, I'm like, hey, this is not too bad, and I passed it around to everybody and everybody like, yeah, this is pretty good. And after that, I was hooked. I was hooked on photography after that. That's how I got started.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so what did you graduate to after the Polaroid,
Well, in high school, I got my first job, and the first thing I bought was a camera, an Olympus Trip 35, and I went around taking pictures of anybody who would put up with me, family members, the gang at high school, and just things around in the neighborhood. And I saw that I had a little knack for it. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the freedom to go out and do whatever you want. Nobody's telling you how to take the picture or when to take the picture. So I liked just everything about it, And so yeah, that was the next phase of that little camera. Just being a little busybody.
Yeah. So did you take photographs in high school, like for the yearbook or things like that, or was it just the neighborhood that you took?
Yeah, for some reason I never thought of that. I never thought about maybe being a high school photographer. I just no, I didn't think about that, which is kind of amazing to me, because I was really into it.
What was what subject matter did you like the most? What did you enjoy photographing the most?
I enjoyed taking pictures of people, but not portraits, just them in their everyday moments. One of my favorite pictures is of my mom and my sister sleeping together on the couch, or my sisters were baking a cake, and one of my sisters was running her finger around the bowl to eat the frosting. So little moments like that were my favorites to take. So yeah.
Yeah. So you like the everyday life, photographs of everyday life. Yeah. Yeah. I also read where you had thought about really wanted to be a nature photographer, And how did that interest get peaked?
Well, so during the summers, me and my sisters, while we were in school, would spend the summer vacations on my grandparents' farm in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, totally different from the south side of Chicago, right? And, my grandmother would give me a list of food to eat, which she wanted to have for dinner. I would go out into the field and just pick the tomatoes and the onions and the cantaloupe for dessert. And we might eat some fish we caught the night earlier, the next day before, and that would be dinner. I can't really recall going to a grocery store. I know we must have, but I never did. And so we were surrounded by trees. There was a big forest behind us, and we only had 2 neighbors. And I think that really influenced me living that way and seeing that, seeing the animals come out of the forest. And so when I decided I wanted to really see what I could do as a photographer, I drew upon that experience and decided that I wanted to try nature, landscape photography. And so and that, that's when I was working and I was getting kind of bored. I had been on a job for maybe 10 years and I felt like I was going around in circles and I wanted to do something, exciting, something different. So I signed up for a tour to the Canadian Rockies.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't really know too much about nature photography. I had taken some pictures of the dunes, Indiana dunes, and some of the parks, and kind of flew around with it. And I thought I knew more than I did, right? So I thought I was good enough to go to this tour. When on the tour, I found out I didn't know anything. I was like, you don't know this, you don't know that, And so anyway, I was up there for a week with a bunch of Canadians, and the tour leader taught me everything about photography, how to handle yourself out in nature, how to look for the light and all of that. So when I got back to Chicago, I had some exhibits, some art shows, some photographs in galleries and, bookstores and stuff like that. I was in the Black creativity with all those great artists in Black creativity. And so I had a buddy, Stan, and we teamed up. He wanted to try it too, right? So we went to the mountains, we went to the desert in Arizona, we went to photograph lighthouses, anything we could think of, Smoky Mountains. And so that was a great time. But eventually, right, I live in Chicago. I can't really afford to run all those places. And it takes time. You need to be out in those places for a while to really get it right, to get the light. You just can't go on their vacation and expect to come out with something good, really good. And so, so I couldn't do that before I, stopped taking pictures.
How long did that last?
It lasted for like years.
Wow.
I didn't pick up a camera, and I got back into it because when it's something you have like that that's for you, it keeps coming back. It's just like bothers you. Like, hey, you forgot about me, right? And so I wanted to get back into it, and I ran across this photographer, Walker Evans, who took pictures back in the 30s and the 40s. And he took pictures of landscapes. Not landscapes, but cityscapes, buildings and stuff like that. And so I tried that. I tried to do cityscapes. We're going to the neighborhood and take pictures and photographs from the neighborhood. And I was all right, but I didn't like taking pictures of rundown buildings and things like that. And I couldn't really get into that. But that helped me transition into taking pictures on the lakefront, because even though that's not really nature, it's you still have to look for the same sort of things, which is light and composition. So I kind of used that to get back into it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was looking at your lakefront series, and it really reminded me of when I was taking art classes. The way you have this large mass of space, and then maybe this one object, it almost talks about like isolation, or somewhere along that the subject is like not one thing. And it reminded me of this painter that I love, was Huey Lee Smith, and his paintings kind of resemble the way your composition is on your photography. large, vast skies or something, and then it's one isolated person, or and it makes you wonder what was your intent behind, what were you looking for, or what was that series really about? You know what I'm saying? Because it really spoke a lot to me, And I'm kind of a minimalist like person. I like a large mass of color, maybe one thing that's just sticks out, something. So that's what that Lakefront series reminds me of. Can you talk about how you got inspired to do that?
Well, it's in the winter, and I wanted to capture that feeling of isolation in the winter. The time for contemplation and stillness, and I wanted to see if I could capture all of that. And so a lot of the photographs had a lot of empty space, and there's that one object, the empty space being something that emphasized the loneliness, the contemplation, the stillness of winter. And so, yeah, I mean, that was one of my favorite books. It was rough getting out there in the winter on the lakefront, I tell you.
I can imagine. And it was a series in black and white, I think so.
So they were in color.
They were color. Okay.
Yeah, they were in color. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I just won an award for one of the photographs I took in that book. That's going to be in the Praxis Gallery in Minneapolis next month. So that was a really I enjoyed that book, because I think I captured what that season is about.
Interesting. As well as your other books, you actually have this is your fifth book, is it not? Your fifth book of photography. Yeah, great. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, on the edge of the Lake Michigan, you seem to really like that you still carry that nature thing with you, regardless of being in the city. You still kind of carry that. Talk about the Lakefront series and what that's about, because it's a little bit different take on the isolation of the other Lakefront series.
Yeah, that one is this summertime, so it's a different vibe. And so there, I'm just looking for stories, not necessarily about the season, but there's so many people out there doing different things. And then you have the beauty of the lake too, so I can do landscapes, right, the nature stuff. And I also had gotten into street photography too. So I can combine both of those things. And then I felt like I could tell a complete story of that area. The 57th Street Beach and the Promontory Point, it's kind of like a unique area, I think, in the city, where you have the trees and the beach, and you have all the races mingling together. So I felt like it was a good hunting ground, to take pictures. And so I, would go out there and, sometimes 5 a.m, waiting for sunrise. That's the nature end of it, right? And then I started seeing people out there in the morning. And they were like the spiritual types. They were meditating, and they were doing Tai Chi and, just karate. And I started, and eccentrics too, people doing their own thing, creatives. And so I started taking pictures of them too. And I thought that added another element to the book, and kind of made that the theme of the book, more people like that than anybody else. And I thought it was worth people be interested in seeing that aspect of what's going on out there.
Yeah, well, I agree. I think people, photography, just like anything else, is relational, and I think people can relate to, even if they don't know what the subjects may be talking about, or what they can sense what they're feeling from the photograph, which is what that series to me does. There's some kind of communication going on, some kind of relationship, that people are having. So I think it's important. You know, so I definitely encourage people to check out your books. This is the fifth one in your series of photography. So, thinking about anything with the pandemic?
You mean as far as like taking pictures of those images? You know, I really don't enjoy taking pictures of people in masks. You know, I have a few. I have a Chinese couple and they're kissing and they both have on masks. You know, so it's interesting, but it's, you know, Sonia, you can't get that facial expressions that really make a good, interesting picture. And it's been so much of it done, you know, so I really didn't. I got some early stuff when it started, people walking downtown with gas masks and, you know, I got some strange stuff, you know, it was kind of cuckoo.
1984, no.
What's that?
I said 1984.
Yeah,
what was that book?
You know, and it was fun at first. After a while, I kind of got bored with it, and so yeah, I'm not doing much in that area.
Yeah. So with after this new book, what's up next for you?
Well, you know, I like to do a road trip. I'm kind of said what I want to say about the lakefront. I did winter, I did summer, you know, and you know, I like street photography, so I might do some more of that. But what I'm really thinking about doing is doing a road trip. You know, maybe you know, go down Route 66, you know, taking pictures, or Lincoln Highway, something like that. I'm thinking about doing something like that. I mean, that would be really fun, or taking a trip out to Mount Rushmore, because I like to, and you know, I wouldn't go just to take a picture of those monuments. I like taking things on the side of the road, the little things, moments, the quiet moments. I feel like it would be a lot of that, you know, on a road trip. So we'll see.
Yeah, that would be great. Well, you probably got the time now. Probably got the time. You should hook up with my brother, who's a writer, and you know, he writes a lot of plays. But I wonder what he would come up with some of your photographs, you know, just little stories about, you know, things, you know, things that you see. But I don't know why that popped in my mind, but it sounds like something he would do. just take a trip and just write about, you know, about these little things that he sees on the way, you know.
That's a good idea, because that's been done before. A lot of famous photographers have done that, teamed up with a writer, and they just like get out, and a writer would write and photographer would write photograph, and you got some you know, some pretty impressive work. Like, done that way. Yeah. Because
well, I'm so glad that you talked to me today, and I wanted to let people know where they can find your work. You know, your website, social media, you know, things like that.
I'm on the CardellPhotography.com. That's my website. And then I'm on Fine Art America, and just type in my name. Okay. And I have work for sale on both of them. Okay. So you can see that. And yeah, I'm not on Instagram yet.
You gotta be on Instagram.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm hearing. I'm out of date, you know. But I'm gonna get on Instagram, because that's a great way to put your work out there, you know. Yeah,
it is. Yeah. But you know, you're on two good platforms, you know, your website. And then at the end of this, you know, people will be able to get that information as well. It'll be on the credits, you know, as well as some of your work, you know, that we can put up. But you know, thank you again for talking with us today. One last question. You know, I know you use your camera, but I always ask everybody, what's your favorite tool? It could be your photography tool. It could be your any kind of other tool that you like. And why is it your favorite?
My favorite tool, I knew you was going to ask this question. My favorite tool is, so I'm ready for you. My favorite tool is this. It's a small camera. It looks pretty simple, but it's got a lot of features to it. It's quiet. It's versatile. Real durable. It's made out of metal. You know, I don't think they make cameras out of metal.
What camera is that?
It's a Canon G9. And so I can slip in and out of a lot of places. with this camera. It's, only thing is it's a little slow, but that worked to my advantage because it helped me develop, the ability to anticipate moments, which is really good when you're out there, you see something happen and you get a feeling that something might happen or potentially could happen. So you're ready for it because I know the camera is not, it's not
Not
quick.
fast, yeah.
So this is my favorite tool.
Well, I want to thank Cardell Phillips for joining us today and telling us about his photography. And I want to thank our audience for coming back again to check out Sunday Artist Talk with your host, Lois Stone and Stone Art Supply. Have a great one. Thank you.